All right, everybody. How's it going? I'm Nick Baldwin. I am Regional Technology Director for LA Coastal Westside LA region of Keller Williams. I also coach the top 20% on command at the KW Boise Market Center. So we're happy that you guys are here. And as of recently, Conversion Monster became the first major integration into Command since the existence of Command. It took a very long time. How long? 3 years, maybe?
We were closing in on 3 years. Yeah, this December would have been 3 years. So
yeah, but Command wasn't there yet, and now it is there, and we're excited because Conversion Monster, which we'll talk about in a minute to fill you guys in what it is, it's available for solo agents, and it now, as of the last several weeks, is available for teams and Rainmaker accounts within Command. And we have the founder and CEO with us, Ro Malik. Say hello, Ro.
Hey guys, how are you?
Ro's also a KW agent, so tell them how you're a KW agent.
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Ro. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Conversion Monster. I also run a real estate team out of Chicago and Buffalo, New York. And now I'm also excited to say I'm a recent transplant to the West Coast. I moved to Redondo Beach in the South Bay last August. So my dream was to always get to the beach and live by the ocean after my whole upbringing in the Midwest, and I'm finally done with the cold. So we're there now, and yeah, I'm excited to be with you guys today, and we've got some other team members from Conversion Monster that are joining us as well.
Sweet, I'll let them introduce themselves. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I am the Director of Technology here at Conversion Monster. I have been working to get this integration live for the last few years. As Nick said, we have some great things to show you. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
And just like an IT guy, Jeremy's a man of few words.
Not usually.
Well, I do not have a team. I'm not a color
usually.
And Derek, go ahead, tell everyone who you are and what you do at Conversion Monster.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Derek Poggio, and I am the Director of Business Development and Growth for Conversion Monster. Prior California resident, Orange County. I actually went the other way of Ro, but I still come back all the time. But I am now the Texas resident for Conversion Monster out here.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm in Michigan. I'm in the coldest part, but Ro, you're originally from Michigan. So
I'm originally from Michigan. Yeah, born and raised in the Midwest.
So let's
get
into
for 2 more weeks.
Conversion Monster. What is it, Ro?
So Conversion Monster is a company of inside sales agents that are helping real estate agents all over the country, all over North America, convert internet leads into closings and commissions through speed to lead, meaning calling in 5 minutes or less, nurturing, and long-term follow-up.
And so why tell the story about, you have always been very heavy on internet lead generation. So just talk about how Conversion Monster was born out of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, unlike most of you amazing Keller Williams agents that built their businesses their traditional way through referrals and database, I came up, for better or for worse, on internet leads. So I've just always been around them. I started many, many moons ago on the mortgage side of the business when Lending Tree leads first came out. So that tells you how old I am. And their whole model of when banks compete, you win. So we had to compete on interest rate and relationships back then. When I switched over to the agent side, which happened kind of around the crash, that's kind of when Zillow first came out. So when you were getting leads back then, they were good. I mean, it was 2007, 08, 09, 2010, like that time period when you got an internet lead. I know it seems ridiculous now, but like 10% conversion rates were, I mean, it wasn't that uncommon to have a 10% conversion rate, right? And then what happened is every year it got more difficult and more difficult and more difficult because everything shifted to online. So there was a lot more lead generators and aggregators. And so every year it was getting a little harder and a little harder and a little harder. And by like 2013, 2014, I really found myself putting in 3-4 times the amount of work to just get the same result. And so I was like, all right, like if this doesn't seem like a great utilization of my time, especially because we know that you need to call leads within 5 minutes or less. And if you don't get a hold of them, you have to follow up and follow up and follow up. And so I just didn't have the bandwidth. And so the idea was, just go back to my old days of being an inside sales agent. And I said, if I could benefit, I need a solution. If I could benefit from this, I bet a lot of my fellow agents could as well. And so at least the concept of Conversion Monster was born, and that was in 2015 on the back of a napkin, and then started to just roll with that idea. And we got up and running in Buffalo, New York, for a whole host of reasons we won't get into today, but one of my business partners out there, and it started to take off. And through a lot of ups and downs, the concept still remained the same, right? Which was that it takes speed, it takes systems, it takes processes, and it takes long-term lead nurturing. And if you can take those things and you can take them out of the agent's hands so that the agent can continue to focus on high yield activities. My dream was that I could just wake up, like this vision I had of flipping open my laptop, got a cup of coffee in the morning, and I just am looking at my hot leads, the hot leads that have been transferred over to me by an ISA, not if I was getting 100 leads a month, not the 100 leads I had to try and work through, just the 10 or 15 or 20 out of 100 that were hot. And if I could just focus on those and just worry about those, then my conversion rates, my rates of closings and commission, is just much better time spent. And so that was where the vision all started. And so we launched Conversion Monster, and then through a lot of ups and downs, we kind of made it, and then we started to do really well. And then when we won the grand prize for FutureCon back in December 2019, that really sort of set everything into motion, which was what led us here today, which was the integration of Command.
Hey, why do you think so many agents suck at follow-up?
Well, I think one of the main reasons is that they only try 1 or 2 times, right? So it's like if they don't get they try the lead and they don't respond back, they might try. The average agent only calls, our data over 5 years has shown us that the average agent only calls 1.5 times. And we know
1.5 times.
1.5 times.
So like, what does it ring and then they hang up before the person answers?
Yeah, and I think a lot of agents have call reluctance, right? Like there's like you don't really want to make all these calls. They don't really want to make all these calls. But the big thing is if you there is a speed to lead component of it. If you don't get to that lead in 5 minutes or less, it does take quite a bit of follow-up to just establish contact with that lead, right? And
yeah, no, totally, 100%. And I hear a lot of agents say, the lead suck, and they're like, well, I tried and I texted, they didn't text me back. I think a lot of times agents are weird about that. They take it personally. Well, that person never called me back. That person never texted me back. And you can't take it personally, because if you're late in responding, if you're less than, let's give them a little benefit of the doubt. If you're less than 120 seconds, if you're more than 120 seconds following up after that, like more than 2 minutes, that person's on to doing something else. You want to catch them when they're still looking at their phone at homes.
Yeah. At the time when we started, it was the average for a consumer to spend on an agent's website was 5 minutes. So if you could capture them while they were still browsing on the site, that gave you the highest probability of conversion. I think now we've got way more ADD, right? So if it's not, like you said, 120 seconds, like people are like 2-3 minutes, they're already moving on if they didn't find what they liked. Yeah. So it's even faster.
So tell us about the cadence of the follow-up, because you guys have come up with, a pretty specific follow-up technique, like how many times you follow up over the course of so many days, so many months. What is that cadence, and why is that the way it is?
Yeah, I'll give you the why and then I'll let Derek talk about what the cadence is. So the
Okay.
why is a lot of trial and error over the years. And one thing that I think a lot Conversion Monster aligns with KW really well is that we know that it's systems and models and consistency, right? So it's the effort over time, right? Consistently doing it day in and day out that produce the results. And that's the thing that almost all agents lack when it comes to these leads is the systems and the processes and the consistency. You might do it well for a few days, but then all of a sudden you get busy, you're out and it's middle of the summer and you're showing all weekend and then leads are coming in and you're not able to get to them in time. And now you've got 6 or 7 leads that came in on a Saturday, and then you're giving it a half-hearted attempt to get in touch with those leads at 4 o'clock on a Saturday or a Sunday. That's the inconsistency, right? It's got to be that speed to lead, and it's got to be that process all the way through. And so again, through a lot of trial and error over the years, we came up with the cadence that gave us the highest probability of contact. And Derek can share with you what that is.
Yeah. So what that process looks like is initially the speed to lead factor is 5 minutes or less for that initial phone call. And it's actually a phone call, not a text, by a real human. Then if we don't get a hold of them at that moment, we'll do what we call our quote unquote 10 days of pain, which is 17 touches over the first 10 days. And that's a variation of calls, texts, and ringless voicemails. And if we still don't get a hold of them at that point, we'll do 76 total touches over the next 52-week period.
So you're following up with one lead for 12 months.
Yeah,
Correct.
You know what though? I'll even take that a step further, because if we make contact with you and you're interested in buying sometime in the next few years, we're going to keep calling that lead for no matter how long you're a client with us, because we make contact with you. We will continually nurture that for much longer than a year. Like,
Oh,
and
that makes
basically until they're
sense.
ready
Okay.
to act.
Yeah.
So so a hot lead by Conversion Monster standard is someone who wants to buy within 6 months. That's a hot lead.
buy or
If
sell,
someone
yeah.
wants to, if someone says, I want to buy within 9 months, and you have gotten that information with them at the 6 month mark, you'll go over that 1 year period till you get to that point where they're ready to talk to an agent.
Yeah. So this was part of me being an agent, knowing that like when I've got to eat, I got to put food on the table, I got to close deals. So my mind is focused on the next 3, 4, 5 months, right? It's not as focused on the deals that are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, a year out. Of course, I want that. But we know that like you've got to stay on top of those people, otherwise they're going to slip through the cracks. And part of the reason conversion rates for leads suck is because we suck at staying in front of those people for that length of period of time. So I said, let's just take that out of the agent's hands. We'll nurture everything that's 6 months or longer, keep your brand or your team name or your name in front of that lead until they get to the 6 month mark. Once they're at the 6 month mark, then we want to get them in front of you and let the agent or the team take over the relationship.
We have a
Something that
client
we
that's
should
been
let
with us
everybody.
for years though, Nick, and I see them convert leads that we've been nurturing for over 1.5 years, going on 2 years.
Wow, that's crazy, crazy, crazy. I want to just let everybody know that the one of the major value propositions of Conversion Monster is, unlike other ISA companies, all of their ISAs are in the United States.
Yeah.
So you guys are in 2 time zones, right? Soon to be 3, right, Ro?
We are in, our ISAs are primarily located in Buffalo, New York, Texas, and Florida. But we're going to be opening up another office in Texas. So we're going to have 2 corporate locations. But yeah, we're only in the US.
Which is awesome because everybody is here. Nobody's overseas. Nothing wrong with the overseas ISA companies, but it's nice to know that, like, you know, the problem with the overseas companies is when someone gets that call, they can tell that that person's overseas. The delay in the phone call, you know, sometimes they have foreign accents, whereas if you're in the US, the connection is right there. It's clean, it's crisp. You know what I'm saying? You guys train your ISAs on scripts and dialogues all the time. And when you're making those phone calls and you're in sales, it's important to have a clear connection that isn't on a delay, where they know exactly what to say and when to say it. Talk a little bit about how you're training those ISAs.
Yeah, so again, as an agent myself, I'm picky about who represents my brand, right? Because I'm one of those people, right? So I understood that. So I was always against the idea of having having a service like this and have it strictly overseas, because I want that person that's representing my brand to be from the US, right? To have an accent that's from any town in the USA. Our initial program was actually developed by a former MAPS coach. He's been coaching for 30 years now. After 20 years with MAPS coaching, he went and started his own coaching company, and he's been coaching for a very long time. He initially created all of our materials and everything that we started training the ISAs with, but everybody goes through a pretty rigorous 30 days of just strict training before they're even put onto a team. And then once they're on a team, they're still being trained by their team leaders for another 2 weeks before they're even starting on those calls. And then we have tons of up training for these people. And we also have ISAs that are segmented by our core division, or if you're in a luxury market or you're in a higher end market, we also have a premier division that's strictly for, if somebody wants custom cadences, custom scripting, they just want their leads handled a certain way. We also have an entire division specifically for that, which is called our premier division.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, because luxury can be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to talk did you want to say something, Derek?
No,
Oh, it
you're
looked like
good,
you
Nick.
were- Okay. I want to talk a little bit about how we engage Conversion Monster through KW Command. So when an agent, I'm going to share my screen in a second, but maybe Jeremy, I don't know if you are the one to talk about the onboarding or how that works.
Yeah, so when you sign up in the KW Marketplace, you'll get an email where it sends you out a link where you just go fill out a quick form, should only take a few minutes. That comes to our onboarding team, so they can just start the process going, secure a phone number for you, things like that. And at the end of you filling out that form, you just schedule a call with somebody on my team, and then you have a half hour to an hour call. It really just varies by how many people you have on your team and a lot of the nuance of how your team is structured. And then from there, we get you live within 3 days from that call now, 3 business days. So it's going really well. I find that it's very easy, and especially with our command users, I feel like the most complicated part is actually signing up, because they're accidentally on their individual user instead of their team when they're signing up for a team. And it's usually the biggest hang up. Everything else is easy. We make it as simple as possible for you. We do a lot of the technical side of things for you, so you don't really have to think about that. And then even after you are live, my team always remains as a tech support for you, where if you have any kind of issues, we're always an open door for you.
So I'm in the KW Marketplace, and I'm going to post the different links here in the chat. Ro, what's the pricing for individual and for agents?
So it's $195 a month for the platform management costs for solo agents, and $395 a month for teams. So
Okay, just so you guys know, in the marketplace, it does reflect $395. So we got to get KW to change that ASAP.
yes. And then for KW agents, it's $4.99 a lead right now.
$4.99.
$4.99.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to jump into Command and show everyone just how simple it is to activate Conversion Monster once you're signed up. If you're building out a campaign with Google or with Facebook, it's so easy to let Conversion Monster know, okay, with this campaign, I want you to engage these leads. The cool thing about Conversion Monster with Command is you don't have to have them engage leads with every campaign. You can pick and choose which campaigns you want them to activate the follow-up process on. And so I'm just going to jump in to command real quick. Like, let's say I'm building out a Facebook campaign. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, so please don't ask me how to create a Facebook campaign. Go to YouTube and watch my videos. But very simple. Once you've done all of the, listing, text, media, Facebook settings, etc., you get to lead settings. This is where the automation starts. And once they've onboarded you, you're going to have all of these Conversion Monster tags. But really, the only one that you have to pay attention to when you're building a campaign is the one that's CM-start. And once that tag is added to your campaign, when the lead comes in, they'll be tagged with CM start, and then Conversion Monster will instantly start to engage. And so I have an example here. This is from the other day. So this lead came in through Google AdWords, and a text went out, and you can see it's branded to me. So, hi, this is Alex with Nick Baldwin and Associates. So they sent that text, and then a couple minutes later, they made a phone call. It looks like they didn't answer the phone, but they did text back about an hour or so later from the initial text. Conversion Monster set that conversation to active and sent another text message. You guys can read that if you like. And it looks like, what does this reverse dial mean? Does that mean they called back?
No, reverse dialing is like our dialing engine that our speed to lead works through. So it's not like if it says outbound, somebody actually went into the lead and manually outbound the call. But if it says reverse dial, that means it went through our system. It was due for a call.
Okay, so right here, he down here, this lead replied yes. Conversion Monster texted back. It looks like they didn't respond. So the next day, they made another call. They picked up, and then they live transferred to my agent. And they spoke to Diallo, which is awesome. And then I get all of this info put into the notes inside of Command, but I also get an email with the information as well. And my agent Diallo gets this email as well, even though she talked to the lead or the buyer. Now you can see where he's looking to buy, whether it's pre-approved, what his price range is. And then down here, there's just some additional information that the ISA could get out of that person. If they're having, if they're on the phone for a while, they may get a good amount of conversation, may have a good amount of conversation and have some good information. But in this case, my agent spoke to him because you live transferred the call because he said he wanted to buy within 3 months. So this is just an example of a lead that came in, and within, I think it looks like within 2 days, the person was qualified by Conversion Monster. Sometimes it can take 2 months, it could take 6 months. I have some instances where it's taken, over a year. But this is a great example of a very quick, conversion, which I probably wouldn't have been able to do myself because I would have forgotten to call back the next day. You know what I mean?
I think
You guys want to add to that?
I think one of the most important statistics that we've shared on some of the regional calls that we've been doing is that, first and foremost, working with command leads and internet leads, as people know, it's not to replace your database. It's not to replace your referral business. That's first and foremost. But secondly, what we found was that our average client sends us around 200 leads a month. And when we were running the calculations to see what the average agent's leaving on the table, we found out that 25% of the opportunities happen after the 4th phone call. And when we equated that, without doing a bunch of math right now, when we equated that to sales volume, it was 35 million in potential sales volume that was being left on the table. And even at a 1% conversion rate for an average home price, I mean, this is, I know Boise and LA, much higher potentially home prices. It was like 3, 4, 5, 6 million in actual sales to the agent was being left on the table by the agents not making more than 4 phone calls. Like that's how much opportunity is being consistently left on the table. And so I think that's the important piece of all of this, is that you've got a system and you've got a process, right? Regardless of what you're doing. And like Nick just showed you through command, sometimes with Facebook, it can happen in 2 days, which is great. Sometimes it can happen after the 4th phone call, and sometimes it could be in a year. Sometimes it could be in 18 months. The point is that most agents give up after 3 or 4 months. That's really the main issue.
Ro, you made a quote to me when you were bringing me in on the team years and years ago now, and it's always stuck with me. But I remember you said, one of the biggest problems, Jeremy, is I always look at it like I'm after a whole weekend of showings, and I had these leads come in Saturday morning, and I'm trying to get to them now. I just disregard it because that was $3. Okay, I lost $3. You weren't equating it to what that $3 could have turned into if you did the proper follow-up.
And I think that's the issue with most agents, that just, oh, well, I'll get 3 more leads tomorrow, or I'll get 3 more leads tomorrow, or I'll get 3 more leads tomorrow. But that could have been the one, right? That could have been the one internet lead like that I had that led to $20 million in business over a few years because of that.
Another really cool thing that you get every day is this this chart or breakdown of like the activities that Conversion Monster is doing on a daily, weekly, and monthly and yearly basis. So here's an example of, if there are any live transfers, they'll be shown at the top. You get emailed this every day. How many calls were made, texts were made, ringless voicemails were dropped that day, how many appointments were made week to date, month to date, and then like how many leads were processed, how many contacts were made, how many nurtures were added to the nurture pipeline, how many live transfers. So this is cool because this shows you like all of the things Conversion Monster is doing. And I look at this and I'm like, I could never do this. Like, that's the thing. You know what I mean? I could never do this as a solo agent. And in some cases, as a small team, you could never do this. If you only have one ISA on a small team, you can't do this. It's just not possible. I don't
also
think so.
The hours were available, right? Like, because we're 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Right. 24 hours. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of great stuff there. And Jeremy, did you want to talk about the new client portal for a few minutes?
Sure, I'll bring it up. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, let me see if I can. So Conversion Monster has a new portal to help you keep track of a lot more than you could even imagine.
So here you're looking at the dashboard of Ro's team in Chicago Homes 360. So on the dashboard, you're going to see some of the stuff you see in that daily email that comes out to you. It will show you like how many live transfers, how many calls were made, text sent. It's just showing you the work we did for you yesterday. It'll tell you how many leads we've touched this month so far, how many contacts have been made, what your volumes are. It will show you your recent transfers. If Ro had an appointment that was scheduled by us that was due today, it would appear here. But one of the great things about this is you can also start taking a step further. You can click on hot leads and immediately start seeing every hot lead that was sent to you. You can see, if it was a transfer or if it's an upcoming appointment. If you click on that, you can see which one of your team actually got the lead. Clicking on the lead itself, you can easily pull up those hot lead notes with all the details that you got in that email, but it's right in the palm of your hand. And I say that because even though that this is, a website that we built as our portal, it also converts to a web app if you access it through your phone's native browser. So like Safari on iPhone, for example, there's a button that says add this to my home screen, and now it's a web app that's always just right in your hand. And as you create your team, your users, and you build your teams and you add team leads and as your team's growing, Team leads can see all the leads of everyone underneath them, where an average agent can only see their own, where you, as if you were the client, can see all of them. We do have where you can set your routing rules. So say you get a hot lead, you want to be, very descriptive of how and where these go to. So when you go in, you're creating rules. You can choose like who gets it first for those live transfers. It will try that twice. And if not, it will set an appointment and you get to pick where that appointment gets set to. You can pick, now row only has price point and if it's Spanish or not, but we do have zip codes. We have availability based on hours. We have if they're pre-approved or not, where if you wanted to route it to your lender, if they're not pre-approved. We can make custom rules. So say if you're a team that does get some Zillow leads, but then you have lots of Facebook leads, you can say, you know what, I'm going to send all of my Zillow leads to Row, but then everything else can round robin to this group of people. You can get very granular with it. And we can even create custom rules that we can assign directly to you that we would go over during onboarding. We figure out what your routing purposes are and how you would like that set up. And we can even create custom rules to help you accomplish that. And then we also have reporting where you can go in at a moment's notice. You can generate a report that shows you your lead sources and how they're performing so far. How many calls have been made on those leads? How many have we gotten? What we consider an opportunity, which is less than 6 months that they're not working with an agent, they're willing to work with you. Those are the hot leads we're sending over to you. We're calling opportunities. And then say you're getting ready to go into a meeting and you're somebody who likes spreadsheets. You can literally export all your hot leads for any given time span and have it right with you when you go into that meeting, or you can pull this up and do those searches right through our filters. You can pick which time frames, custom or a specific period. You could pick which super teams, if you want to see a specific user on your team. You can filter all by that as well. So this is really a tool that, yes, helps the individual agent on the go. Like say you had an appointment you see on your calendar, you can quickly grab your phone, go to the app and see those notes without digging, right? But somebody like Ro, who's managing a team, managing multiple teams, he can easily go in and zero in a specific team. He can see specific agents, like are they picking up the phone when they try transfer, things like that.
Yeah. So Jeremy, let me just jump in here. So guys, like if I don't know how many of you guys are running teams that are on this call, but from like what I do when I'm like if I sit down with the Chicago team, I look at all the hot leads that have been transferred from the previous week. And I go through each one of these hot leads during one of my calls with my team to say, have these been updated? What is happening with each one of these? Because even though you're sending over hot leads, like the agents still get busy. They still miss things. They get busy with other showings. And the one way to stay on top of that is having this all in one place so that you can review pipeline with them from the previous week. And you can just go through these to make sure nothing's slipping through the crack, right? Because you're paying for the leads, you're bringing the leads in, or if it's just for yourself, the same thing. It's a way for yourself to stay accountable because all these transfers are coming over. They're all live connects, right? Like you're talking to these people live on the phone. So you've got some sort of relationship with them. The last thing in the world you want to do is just get too busy and forget to stay in front of them. That's how leads slip through the crack. And this is one way to make sure that you're seeing everything in one place so that it doesn't happen.
So this is a really great question from Stacy. She's asking, does the ISA have access to the calendar of the agent, or is it just that a hot lead is transferred if they're willing to meet? Or I'll add to that, if the hot lead doesn't want to talk to an agent or can't at that moment, the ISA then says, when would you like to have a call back? And then just jots that down. They don't put it in the calendar of the agent, right?
So I actually, it was funny. I was responding on that right as you started to talk about it. What a lot of we are working on a direct integration with our clients' calendars. So in the portal here, when you set a user, pretty soon you'll be able to authorize your calendar, which in technology terms, we all know pretty soon does not mean tomorrow, but it's definitely on our goal of our upcoming sprints of technology. So like you go into Mark and in here, he would authorize his calendar. So that way the calendar would come up. Now, until we do get to that point though, what a lot of our clients do is they sign up for a free Calendly, which links it to their calendar. We put that link inside of our system where our ISAs will go to that Calendly, see when you're available and when the lead is available, and schedule it in your Calendly so it does appear, and set it in our system so that email goes out.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
And that's only
See,
if they
I
don't
did not
answer
know
their
that.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's only if they don't
What?
answer their
Agents
phone.
don't answer their phones?
Even when we're calling.
And you know what, Nick? I don't mean to circle back, but one of the things, and I didn't want to interrupt you, is when you were looking at that email, the one thing that's in that email that isn't on the dashboard yet is you can actually see, and there was that attempted transfer, and then how many
Mhm.
succeeded. So like, that's also a really good point for someone like Ro, who's going into a meeting and he goes, I see Conversion Monster tried to transfer to you guys 15 times last week. You guys only answered 7. What's going on? Because remember, those other 8 calls, somebody else could have got them on the phone before you call back that appointment, and now that's their agent,
Yeah.
right?
And Rose like, you only closed 1.5 million this year. I know you're not busy selling houses. So
And
you're
I'm
busy
telling the company,
binging
so you better
Netflix.
pick up your phones because we have to show everybody else how to do this. Can't be missing
Yeah.
calls. Yeah.
I mean, it's a big leverage piece. One of the great things about it is it's a fraction of the cost of an in-house ISA, $195 a month plus $5 a lead for a solo agent. Was it $295 a month for teams or
$395 plus,
$395?
yeah, $5 a lead for teams. Yep.
You know, and it's affordable. That's like the great part about it. You know what I mean? Like if you have an in-house ISA, you got to pay that person a salary. If they're licensed, then you got to bonus them. You know, it can be upwards of $100,000, if not more. Whereas with Conversion Monster, it's not going to cost you anywhere near that unless you have a massive team, right? But if you have a small team or you're a solo agent, then, you know, it's going to be, you know, it's not going to break the bank. That's the great part about it.
Yeah. We're absolutely plug and play. And the one thing I just always want to reiterate is that, I mean, internet leads, like, this is the long game. Like if you're expecting overnight success, right, in 2 or 3 months, you're going to be disappointed, right? This is definitely something where you're nurturing these things and you're building a pipeline over the long term. And we're your prospecting engine, right? We are 24/7, 365. Like we're always prospecting for you. So that's the leverage. Just like you have on the operations side, you have an admin. We're on this side, we're on the sales side, being your prospecting engine through the holidays, it doesn't matter. We're going every day. We're keeping that consistency going.
That is true, even on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Ro, you have
Thanksgiving.
a question from Kathy in regards to Premier and the cost for Premier.
Yeah, you can take that, Barrick.
So the platform fee remains the same at that $395, but there is no $195 for a solo agent, $395 for the team, and then there is an additional cost in regard to the cost per contact at $895 per lead.
Yeah, so the Premier division is at $895 a lead. The two things that are with that is you can completely customize the scripts. We'll ask whatever questions you want, and you can completely customize the text or the emails. You just think of it as a fully customizable service. And
because we have some agents on here from Los Angeles, and Boise has a pretty high price point, believe it or not.
yeah,
From
all those LA
is it
people,
mostly
right?
like for luxury? What's that?
From all those LA people moving into Boise over there. That's all I keep hearing on the news.
Yeah.
Driving up Boise prices.
It's crazy. So like, what's the benefit of Premier? Like, is it better for, you know, a luxury price point? Like I know luxury agents, they want to be a little bit more hands-on with like what's said to the potential client. So like, what's the benefit of Premier in terms of, is it better for a higher price point typically?
It is. There's different cadences, a couple different cadences you can choose from. So some of the feedback was like, hey, we love that for your power division, your core division, that you guys go hard in the paint, right? And get after these leads. But for Premier, for these, we're in a place where it's, you know, Santa Barbara and the average price point is $1.8 million. Like, ease off the gas pedal a little bit. We want a little bit of a lighter cadence and like, don't call as late. And like, we want to ask different kinds of qualifying questions. it's fully customizable for that. So that, because in our regular division, those are the qualifying questions are the ones that we ask. And if you don't want
Got
that cadence and you want a little bit of a lighter cadence and you want different questions asked, just think of it as a sort of fully customizable. And yes, it was originally created for the luxury price point that sort of morphed into if you just want customized solution for your market. So it's
Stacy
A or
makes
B.
a great point. Even at $8.95 for Premier, if they transfer 10 hot leads to you in a month, that's like less than $100. And if it's $1 million or $2 million price point, I mean, that $90 could turn into like a $40,000-$50,000 commission.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to look at it in that perspective. Then it makes total sense.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty. When you run the numbers, even if you do on the back of a napkin, you know, over the long term, it is incredible, like additional GCI to your current business running these
Yeah.
models. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let us know if there's any final thoughts, questions, comments in the chat. And guys, is there anything that we didn't cover that I didn't ask? Stacy, not Stacy. Kathy asked a question. I think Jeremy just answered it. I don't know. What's the strike point to cause a lead charge? I don't know what a strike point is. Maybe I don't know.
I
You know
think
that
what
is?
she was asking was, what leads would we bill for? And like,
Oh.
not like, we don't bill for like hot leads. We bill for each lead that gets sent to us.
Yeah.
'Cause we're-
Okay, that's good to understand. Like, you could get 100 leads. You're billed for 100 leads. If you choose to have those leads followed up with, you're not billed only for a hot lead. But still, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because let's say you're generating 100 leads through Facebook, and it costs you $200 to generate those 100 leads, $225 to generate the leads. Then the $5 on top of that. In Boise or in LA, that commission is still going to be like, the ROI is still going to be huge, you know?
Yeah. The numbers really work in those kinds of cities. On
Exactly.
the ROI front. Yeah.
They work in Michigan too, just not as much. That's why Roe moved.
Yeah, there's not a house in Redondo under 2.5 million, I think.
We get it, Roe. You bought a fancy house.
I'm renting, man. I'm just got out there a year ago. So I'm still in sticker shock coming from Chicago. It's like still 3 times more expensive. I'm still getting my bearings down.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So it looks like, yeah. Did I miss any questions, or is there anything I should have asked? I guess not.
We
No?
did it. Covered it all. It's just end to end.
I can give just one little parting advice for anyone who would like to sign up for us.
Sure.
One of the biggest hurdles you're going to run into is when you're in the marketplace, up at the top, if you are on a team, you have a toggle between an individual user and a team. So if you're signing up for the team product, make sure you select your team in that dropdown. Otherwise, it's not going to let you. It throws an error, and I have to email you. And let you know.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's a good piece of advice. I also dropped the links to Solo and team in the chat a couple times. Kathy has one more question. Is there a minimum contract time?
No.
It is month to month, but what you should understand is you're not going to see results if you sign up for 1 month. You're just not going to.
Yeah.
You're just not going
It's
to,
only gonna get
especially
the
with
low-hanging
internet lead
fruit.
generation. What's that?
It's only going to get the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. Gotta give it time, because that's why there's a 12-month nurture time with each lead, because it can take a very long time.
But then you've built up your pipeline, right? It's like if you can get over that hump of that idea that it's not always going to be immediate results, but you're building your future pipeline, and the gravy on top certainly are the ones that are responsive and willing to go out and write a contract right now. Once that engine starts, just like when you started in the business, you had to build up a sales pipeline before you really started to like see the fruits of all that labor you put into it. It's the same thing with these leads. And once you get going, then you've got that pipeline that starts popping consistently for you. So it's
Awesome. Well, thanks guys. Appreciate you guys being on here.
Thanks for having
Um,
us.
Yeah, if you have questions, like if they have questions before they sign up, what should they do?
They can reach out. We can post our information in the, well, there you go. Derek posted the link.
Oh, conversionmonster.com/welcome dash, conversionmonster dash, hold on a second. I'm doing this completely wrong. Conversion-monster.com/welcome-KW. Oh my God, Derek, there
Yeah.
had to have been something easier like available in GoDaddy. Oh, sign up in October. Will the sign up fee be waived? That's
It
a thing,
will.
right?
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Okay, so you have 7 more days to sign up and take advantage of the waived
Wave down board.
onboarding fee.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, and by the way, guys, anyone who's watching this, they're going to get a replay, and I'll add all of the info and links that we talked about on the call in the email. So if you missed one, don't worry, I'll send it out. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate
Thank
you
you
being
guys so
on.
much. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thanks for having us on.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.